The Trudeau government will be tested once again today. This time, the pressure will be coming from the Bloc Québecois.
Colton Prale from CTV National is joining us live with more on this morning. So, Colton, what is it that the BQ is looking for from Trudeau and the Liberals in order to give them their support in Parliament?
Yeah, so for the last 5 weeks, the Trudeau government has had an ultimatum hanging over their heads from the Bloc Québécois. It was two bills that the Bloc wanted to see passed. The first one already passed in the House of Commons, but is stuck in the Senate. It relates to supply management and basically would ensure that dairy, poultry, and egg farmers are protected in future trade negotiations. Now, the Liberals actually support that bill, and in fact, Trade Minister Mary Ying has even wrote a letter to the Senate committee that is still studying this, asking them to speed things up. The Senate pushed back and said, we will get to it, but we are doing other important work as well. That committee also deals with foreign affairs, and so as you can imagine, there's a lot of work going on in that committee relating to issues in Africa and also in the Middle East. Now, at the same time, there's a separate bill and a larger bill that the Bloc Québécois had asked the Liberals to push through that the Liberals were against. This was a 10% increase to the payouts of the old age security payments for people 65 to 74. This already exists for those 75 and up. The Liberals introduced that a couple of years ago, but this change would make sure it applies to everyone who receives these kinds of payouts. But it's very expensive. It would cost about $16 billion over 5 years. Now, most Liberal ministers and Liberal MPs have said they're against it. They voted against a motion that would bring this forward earlier in the month. That motion ultimately did pass, but that money still isn't going out because of the way that works. When you're an opposition member, if you bring forward a motion like this that spends new money, a cabinet minister or a Liberal prime minister could bring that forward, but they have to sign off on it. And so they didn't sign off on this deal. They won't sign off on this deal. And what it means is that today is the deadline to do that. They're not going to hit it. Now, moving forward, the Bloc Québécois will not support the Liberal government in any confidence votes that come up. It means only the NDP is left to support this government should their rule be called into question. Where it gets really tricky, though, is that to do that, to have a confidence vote, you need the House of Commons to move past the privilege debate that it's currently in. It's been stuck there for 4 weeks, and until it gets out of that, we can't actually see any of these votes that would potentially topple government. So the Liberals are in a bit of a riskier situation right now, but until things change, they're skating by on thin ice.
Yeah, thin indeed, and getting thinner by the day, it seems. Colton Prale, live in Ottawa. Appreciate the update, Colton. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anytime.